Our differences, whether they be in our differences in abilities, our races, or our sexual orientations, are the palette from which the universe paints its masterpiece.
I spoke to the network and I said, when you put this show on the air, you don't just put a good show on the air, you make us all better people.
Welcome to the Media Access Awards.
We're all here to encourage the film and television industry to make their projects, make the film and television industry look more like the world.
Happy to be here to support the media access people because they're doing an awesome thing, which is bringing people with disabilities into the film and television world. They've been far too long overlooked.
And diversity to me is very important to show people what this world is really like.
Throughout the history of the world, it has been critical that we tell each other about who we are, where we come from, and what might be possible.
We all know someone with a disability. It could be a parent of Parkinson's, a child with autism, or a friend in a wheelchair. As America ages and medicine advances, this population will only grow. They deserve a place in the stories that Hollywood tells.
You have to have talent and make the magic as an actor or a singer or a dancer. But there are a lot of extra obstacles for people with disabilities, and we're trying to even the playing field a little bit.
25% of the US population has some form of a disability, and less than 3% of the characters on screen do. When you make content for the audiences as they are, and Hollywood is not doing that, as we all know, you will make more money. So if you can't do it for the right reasons, do it for the wrong ones.
The men and women we honor today represent the best in the business at showing people with disabilities as they are, just as nutty as everyone else.
We walked in, she said, "Is this the Oscars?" I said, "It's like the Oscars, but with more wheelchairs and sign language."
You ready, interpreter? Hip, hop, the hibbit to the hibbit, the hip, hip, a hoppy, you don't stop.
Now that I'm 95, I cross the room, I get a standing ovation.
Thank you. Now I'm deaf and blind. Thank you.
Michael Keaton.
It's rare that a day goes by that I don't think about every time you reach over and you tie your shoe, absentmindedly reach across and grab a salt shaker, forget the keys to your car and just walk back to your room or run back to your room. All the little things that not only my mother just took pre-planning, but everyone who has a disability. We just take these things for granted.
My dad came out with a big smile on his face and said, "You got the part." I was so happy. I couldn't stop smiling. I was just so dancing. I was like, yeah. Yeah.
I had the honor of hosting this event some years ago, and I was not invited back. Those of you who were there know why, but be that as it may, I am very happy to introduce this year's co-hosts. I did it myself, by the way. One guy carried the whole load. But your co-hosts today are a young comedian who made Howie Mandel wet his pants on America's Got Talent, and Howie doesn't like germs, so that was a big deal. And the star of the big hit Netflix show, Dear White People. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Drew Lynch and Logan Browning.
I'm a stand-up comedian who stutters, which was an interesting choice for hosting. They were like, how do we make an award show even longer?
Public speaking is easy when you can't see the audience.
You know, able-bodied hearing people in general, they generally think that it's literally impossible for disabled people to be happy. I was wondering, why do people think that way? And then I realized the answer was, it's how TV and film portrays us.
It's an honor to be here this morning. I'm really delighted to be a part of this.
I'm blown away by the power and the love in this room.
Thank you for giving this award. I will try to keep making you all proud, and so you, Mom, and so my dad. I really love you guys. Thank you.
I'd like to thank all of the guilds for together to do this. I think this is a pretty amazing thing.
It's the greatest honor I've ever gotten in my life.
This means the world to me.
The award you have given me is probably the best award I've had throughout my career.
I just wanted to say a huge thank you for this award. We are so honored to be acknowledged by Media Access.
Everybody in the world should be able to find themselves on the screen.
Receiving this award as a producer means so much to me because representation is so important. Not just in front of the camera, but also behind the camera.
I thank you all for giving me the tools to have a fighting chance, to finally not feel invisible to the world, and to ensure that the future generation doesn't feel the same.
And watch the screen come alive with authentic roles for everyone.
We should all be so proud of the work that we have done and so excited for what we're going to do in the future.
Welcome to Meet the Biz. Today to me is a very special day, and it is, you know, I mention this a lot about two of my favorite words are family and love. And today we have two people that I really feel like brings the extended family all together. They are the heads of the Media Access Awards. They saved it and brought it back as a magical annual event. Today we have Deborah Calla and Alan Rucker.
Where's the drum roll? Yes.
Hello.
Hey, David. How are you?
I'm good. I'm in my four walls experiencing this whole thing like it.
Well, David, I love doing this with you and for you because you are part of our family and have been since day one.
Absolutely. We love you and admire everything that you do. You are just about the best.
Oh, well.
Just about the best. You got a little work to do, but just about the best.
Oh my God. Well, you know, and saying
it's a
that.
love thing.
What?
It's like Sammy Davis Jr. used to say, it's a love thing here going on here.
It is. It is. Well, that's what Meet the Biz is about. I really, and I'm so happy that I'm started to do this during this one positive thing that's happened out of this whole quarantine stuff is really, it keeps me going, and I try to make it a positive feeling for people where they can get away from it for a while and say, oh yeah, there's something past quarantine.
And you know, because we are also locked in our homes, we don't know what people are doing, but there's like all the stuff going on in our homes that people are working, people are, you know, developing things, people are, you know, in pre-production on stuff and classes and workshops and seminars. So there's a lot of buzzing going on, and when the doors are open finally, it's going to be a stampede of energy and things that got developed and done during this period. So, you know, got to look at the bright side.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it made me think, look on the bright side of life. So where did you, what made you like reach and save the Media Access Awards? I know that it's going on its 41st year this year, correct?
Right.
21st year, yes, and our 11th year for Ellen and I.
Now, where did you both meet? How did you decide, hey, we've got to keep this going?
It's almost like there was a big meeting, David, and everyone said, we got to save the Media Access Awards. And then everyone left, and I looked and I saw her and she saw me, and I guess, well,
literally.
No, I started when I became paralyzed in 1996, but I was working at the Writers Guild.
Right.
I was the head of the Writers with Disabilities Committee, And Deb and I actually met at an affair where a bunch of advocates got together, like Gail Williamson, et cetera, probably all the people you've talked to. And everybody said, and the unions, that was really helpful. Deb was representing the Producers Guild, I was representing the Writers Guild, and then there were AFTRA people. And it was simply this urgency to bring this show back, because it had actually gone off the air for 2 years.
Right.
3 years.
3 years.
3 years,
Yeah. Yeah.
It really gone. And I swear, Deb, correct me if I'm wrong, someone said, well, geez, someone's going to have to produce this thing.
Yeah.
And everyone looked at the person from the Producers Guild, of course, and she said, oh, okay, I'll do it.
It was literally like that. Okay, we need to save this. This is really important now. Who's going to do this?
And I said, she said, well, I'll produce it. And I said, well, I'll write it, thinking that we would do it for 1, maybe 2 years, and then see it take off and stand back and pat ourselves on the back.
Yeah.
But whoa, we didn't know what we were getting into. We still
No,
don't.
I mean, yeah, I remember sitting at our very first media access, and it was like we didn't have any clips, anybody's clip of their work. We didn't have, we didn't have much anything. It was like we Xeroxed the program, at Kinko's. And, and there were 100 people at the Peninsula Hotel.
I remember.
And it was a cup of coffee and a bagel, that was it. But to me, as I was sitting there and Pat Harvey started to introduce the show, I started sobbing, and I knew then I would never stop doing this, because it seriously, before, I didn't realize how important the media access is, and I had to see it, like produce it 1 year, sit there in the audience, which I always do the day of the show, to realize how big, how important disability inclusion is. And so that was 11 years ago.
Right. And my first impression was, well, first of all, just remember that room was so small that the fire marshals were standing by not to let us let, the 103rd person in. And, but my first impression was, I first saw the first year we gave the Writers Guild Award to Breaking Bad. What's his name, Deb?
Vince Gilligan.
Vince Gilligan. And I could see how excited he was to be recognized for doing something in his show, which, he just did kind of out of instinct. He had a roommate who was disabled, or was just like the son in the show. Right. And he was just so touched. And then as it went on, the next year, the people that really moved me were always the young kids with disabilities, often in the audience, not even there to be recognized, but just enjoy what you called it, that family gathering, David, or some kind of group reassurance that, we're not a bunch of freaks out there, that this thing is real and building, and there are people that are looking out for you and trying to help in every way.
Yeah.
It's actually one of our obstacles, or an amazing learning opportunity this year, being that we're not going to be live, is how do you keep that family vibe on a show that is pre-recorded, where, the recipients are not going to be feeding off of the people and having that magical moment where there's so much being exchanged, amongst people. So how do we keep that? Because to us, that is the most important thing. If you don't have
that's
that,
the whole show. And we're trying to do it now without the whole show. Just that moment of those people getting on stage and being recognized and making comments, and that audience appreciation. We don't have that this year. So it's a very emotional show, David. You've been to it many times.
Oh, gosh.
Every year. And you know that that's a hard thing that we're going to have to try to, I don't know, finesse.
Yeah, well, to me, the Media Access Awards is one of the most important in the industry, one of the most important award shows. And because it really comes from the heart, it comes from a creative base, yet, like I said again, the family base. And it's not, what I really see it doing and it is connecting everyone in the entertainment industry. And that's what I feel that you're both doing with it, and how it has, from even the beginning. How do you see it that it's changed from when, let's say, from before or when you got it to now?
Oh, when we first started, it was like, oh my God, who are we going to nominate? There was nobody. What writer, what director, what producer? Nobody's doing anything. This was 11 years ago.
Right.
So there were basically nothing on the air. It was just like, we wanted to do it. And now when, the unions get together and we get together to choose our honorees, it's like, how about him? How about her? What do you think of this show? What do you think of that show? And that is the big change.
Yeah.
Because before it was like, we didn't know who to nominate. And now we have so many people to nominate. Not that we don't have a long way to go, but just in that, we see how much things have changed.
Right. And we have really the help, and certainly from the beginning, the help of SAG and AFTRA, the Producers Guild and the Writers Guild and the Casting Directors of America, because as we were going, they give awards, and they stepped up with nominations that Deb and I didn't, at least initially, didn't really know about these people. Now we do, and now, as she says, this is a kind of an odd year because there's so many shows that aren't on the air, that didn't get made, that were postponed for a year, et cetera. But nevertheless, we've located, or they've kind of come to us, very, very, very distinguished shows that we're really proud to present.
Gosh, and how it has grown again from the 11 years ago to now. This last year was like, oh wow! It's just like every year it gets bigger and bigger and better. And what would you?
That was our big splash last year, David, and then the virus hit.
Well, this is, like you said, it's going to be a challenge this year, but I think it's going to be incredible.
I think we are going for incredible because we like to do things bigger and better. Yeah. And also our partners, Easter Seals of Southern California, they're an amazing partnership. And any crazy thing that we come up with, they have said, okay, let's go for it. And they have really been amazing. So
they really have been very, very supportive.
Just to support, and now, how many years have you been with Easter Seals?
This is our third year.
Nice.
Yeah, and very,
4
very
years ago, they came up to us and took us out to lunch, a free lunch, David. You don't want to miss out on those. And said, hey, we're doing this. They'd already started working with Nick Novicki, who you probably talked to.
Oh, yeah.
So they were getting, they were kind of dipping their toe in the water of disability in Hollywood. And they've gone, full bore now. And we really would be lost without them.
Right. Yeah. No, very, amazing group of people. And whenever I connect with them, it's like, you get that light. You could see that it's like, and again, I feel like it's those seeds that have been planted throughout the years are like having people come to you or to us, or, everybody's joining together to make one strong so-called love fest, which we need more of the love this day and age, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. These are very trying times.
Oh yeah. What would you like to see happen in the future in regards to the Media Access Awards and what is going on in the diversity, disability community and inclusion?
I mean, I like to retire the Media Access Awards in the very far future, meaning that we won't need to do this because inclusion will just be part of, be part of the fabric of media. So we exist, Media Access, because we need to support people that are creating these characters, that are writing them, producing them, acting in them, casting them, putting their money into these projects. We need to say, we see you, we applaud you. We need to others that are not doing it to see that this is such an important thing. So we have a purpose. I would like in the future, not today, because I love doing the Media Access, but in the far future, I'd like to quit the Media Access and not have Media Access anymore, because there will be so many actors with disabilities, writers, producers, and directors, all being nominated for Oscars and Emmys and Golden Globes and Tonys, and we won't need to do a Media Access
The
award.
focus will never be their disability. You know the old saying that a medical doctor, the job of a medical doctor is to put himself out of business, is to cure everyone in his vicinity so there's no more business. And that's kind of what we're trying to put ourselves out of business. We think it probably won't happen tomorrow, but no, I think our next step, and we have to take it at some point, is a televised version of the Media Access Awards.
Absolutely.
We're talking to certain people, and this is really, you have the foundation world, all of them good-hearted people really tried, and then you have the real world of television, the real world of film, right?
Right.
And so you have to make inroads into that world in order to take what I'd say is our next step. So we just hope we can do that over the next year or so.
I think that's a brilliant idea, and to see all actors, all performers coming together on this show, and just it's that little shift of the societal shift, the entertainment shift, that people go, oh, and they stop, like you say, stop thinking about it, so we don't even need it anymore. Right. It just becomes part of the fabric. I could, and I'm gonna hopefully have you both on separately, because I wrote a list. I was looking through, of course, and I knew a lot of it, but I still was going, oh, I mean, I could do a whole interview on each of you about where you came from and the books that you both wrote. I mean, health and fitness books, Deborah, and then, of course, Alan, you wrote books on.
Did you know that, Alan?
What?
Did you know I wrote 2 books?
Yes, I did know that, but you've never given me a copy. I don't know what's in them, right?
It made me want to eat my broccoli.
He was pulling stuff out of what did you call it? Out of the trunk, or?
Listen, I knew a guy. You guys might know who he is, Ben Stein, the writer.
Yeah.
He literally used to have books. You want a copy of my new book? And he'd open up his trunk, and there he would have 2 dozen copies, and he'd hand. It's kind of like a mafia selling cigarettes out of the back of a car, right?
Right.
But you got to send me over. Yeah. Well, we've both done a lot of different crazy things. That's for sure. But we focused here. The thing about this year's show, David, is the upside, if there is an upside, is that it will be streaming all across America, because it's a virtual show, and all these people will show up on camera anyway. So for the first time, because the show has always been a Hollywood show, it's been about Hollywood, the people who come are from Hollywood, and so we're happy that we're going to have at least an attempt to reach outside of Hollywood to just the American disability community, not just the Hollywood disability community. And that we see that as setting the stage for the upcoming, we hope, television, annual television show,
right?
The Access Awards.
Well, especially with the 30th anniversary of the ADA.
Say that again. Especially
with the 30th anniversary of the ADA this year.
Right. Well, every year is an anniversary of the ADA.
Yeah.
I have one every year too, and so do you.
Right.
Anyway.
No, no, it's going to be happening in November this year?
Yeah, November 19th.
Okay.
6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time.
Love it. Is there any little surprise or hints that you could like tease us with yet, or not yet?
My lips are sealed.
There are some serious surprises. What are you talking?
Serious
both in
surprise.
both in people who are going to be in the show and the show. It's going to be very entertaining, David. We always set out to do it was not a fundraiser. It was not a way for everyone to get to wring their hands. It was a show about entertainment and with this underlying message. And so we've tried to keep it that way. And this year, we're trying to even push that envelope a little because it's going out to so many people. And, we want to make sure that people have a good time.
I think it's going to be really fun, and everybody's going to go like, oh my God, him, her, this.
Oh, I love this. And you know what's going to be so nice?
That's our commercial right there. Her going, him, her.
I'll send it over. We'll edit it in. And what's going to be so nice is that all the students at Performing Arts Studio West, over 100 of them, and Meet the Biz and Inclusion Films and Born to Act Players, and everyone will be able to be a part of this
right.
Because it will be so available for everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So that's what we're excited about, is the fact that everyone is going to be able to watch this and participate.
Yeah.
There's no limitation, a physical limitation, which is what we always had to deal with. Every show we did, we went to a bigger space, and each time there were like people all the way to the doors, so now it's like the more the merrier.
Right. Well, obviously the best of both worlds is to have all those 400 people or whatever our crowd was last year in that space, because that collective energy is just, and to be able to send it out across America to people who couldn't be there.
Right.
David, can I make a point of saying something about David, Deb? David did a fantastic job of casting the entire disability scene, which for people who don't know what it is, it's an annual kind of writing competition about disability scenes, which we pick the best 10, and then they're all directed and acted out this year virtually by actors with disabilities. So half of the writers, you don't have to be disabled to write this show, but a lot of the writers are but the screens are good. So we said, David, could you cast this for us this year, which is the biggest job of all? And he did fantastic. Some of the people were just fantastic. And excuse me, what's the woman? I always forget her name. Who was the narrator?
Anita Hollander.
Yeah, she did a fantastic job.
She's brilliant.
She really kind of grounded the thing.
Yeah.
So, and even then, David, as you were saying, getting the students at the Performing Arts Center, et cetera. One of our members teaches at Northridge.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, UC Northridge, whatever you call it. Cal State Northridge, if here I get it. And so she was giving her screenwriting students, extra credit for watching the disability, which I thought was great. That's what you need. You got to get these young people who are either disabled themselves or are good creative minds, and can all of a sudden see that people with disabilities are, first of all, 1 out of 4 adults in America, and everybody knows one, and your next door neighbor or your brother or your sister or your aunt. And we'll start working these people into stories. It just makes for richer storytelling.
Yeah, more levels of humanity to each character. I was blessed to do it, and I was blessed to be asked to do it. I went to the first one years ago, and thought it was, wow, this is incredible. And then this year, of course, I was called up to cast it, and I was so happy I was so blessed to get such amazing people in it, like you said.
It was awesome.
Oh, thank you. And you know, and it was fun too. I mean, I can mention everybody. I mean, everybody I thought was incredible and amazing. And I was so happy we got some of the students like Luke Zimmerman, who's not, you know, he's an actor. He was on television show for 5 years, and Bernard Smith in there. And, you know, I could list everybody, but it was really, you know, when you jump into it and you're having all this work to do, but then you get into it. And again, it's that, you know, I will not get tired of saying family, because it really, you know.
We're tired of hearing it.
Oh,
just kidding.
Yes, but not tired of living it. But well, thank you for that. It was an honor to do it this year.
For instance, Toby just killed Toby Forrest.
Oh.
He played radically different roles. They were all kind of loud characters, and he was born to play them. He was so good, really good.
Well, he was one of, I mean, I always think of Toby. Whenever I think of somebody to cast, he's one of the first people I always think of. And I was shocked that he had never been a part of that before.
I was shocked too, because you know, other people always cast me, not because I don't know. But
and same with Kathy Buckley.
Kathy Buckley was great. I'm sorry John Lawson didn't get in. He's been in the
I know. You know, I wanted to get, you know, you only have so many spaces you can fill. It's like, can I put how about like 2 narrators or this or that, you know? But I really felt too, to have that female, motherly, strong voice as the narrator. And I just thought that, and again, as a casting director, I'm always like, smorgasbord, you know, what does the producer's director want ultimately? But I want to bring amazing possibilities to it.
Kathy Buckley was great, and it's so bad that she hasn't been with us before. But since we're probably going to ask you to cast again next year, David, you don't have to say yes now. God knows we don't know what's going to happen in the next 2 weeks, right? Let alone next year. But you really brought a lot of fresh faces and talent to the party.
Thank you.
All right, that's enough.
Okay, that's enough. And by the way, you were talking about your hat before that you were going to wear your Performing Arts Studio West hat, but you wore it out.
It was too dark. It's too black with, you know, anyway.
Schmutz.
I really like it. Yeah. Too
well,
smutty.
I have one more question to ask. Again, this is, again, I hope to have you each back separately, because you have such histories in the industry, and you have such, I mean, so much going on. The one question that I would ask is, what is the moment in your life that you're most proud of?
Oh, Jesus.
Professionally, personally.
Whatever comes to your mind.
You gotta narrow it down. Well,
one of each if you want.
Deb, do you have an answer? I have an answer if you need.
Go for it.
Okay, I've had many proud moments. The moment that marrying my wife and having my 2 children were just, that's way up there. But professionally, I always, from a very young age, wanted to be a writer, and I wasn't very good at it. I had my critical mind just kept getting in the way, but I kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And the first time I wrote a book with Martin Mull called The History of White People in America. Yeah. And I remember being in a hotel room in New York when the publishers, Penguin Publishers, knocked on the door. A guy, knocked on the door and says, "Here's a copy of your book," the first one out. And I cried because I had reached that plateau, and it really, really moved me. That was a key moment in my professional life.
Yeah.
Personal life, of course, is meeting you, David, is too.
Right. Oh my God.
I'm the kind of person that I have had many important moments in my life, but it's, I don't have one, the most important, because I put so much of me, so much of my energy into everything that I do, that when it's finished, when it's done, and I can sit back and watch, that's the most important moment in my life. And then I have another most important moment in my life. Right. And there, you know, it's just about really fulfilling something that you set yourself out to do, and you do it, and it's really, really amazing, that feeling of like, I did it, look, I did this, and then you start all over again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm sorry, I'm like one of those boring people that don't have like the person that you most admire in your life or your most important moment. Actually, I do have the person I most admire in my life, and that is Benjamin Franklin.
Oh.
Benjamin. And why Benjamin Franklin?
The man was everything. He was a writer, he was a politician, he was a scientist, he was a humanitarian, he was a traveler. I mean, of like, you know, not just a writer, he was an amazing writer, not just a politician, he was an amazing politician, he was an amazing scientist. Like, everything he did was done so brilliantly. And I just love, you know, his integrity. So, I mean, yeah, so he's the only person, if you said, who would you want to have dinner with? Benjamin Franklin.
Right.
Maybe David can get him for his next series.
Oh, yeah.
I can always try.
You could probably find an actor.
I actually tried to write a pilot where one of the characters was Benjamin Franklin, but it was too complicated.
Right. We'll do a little seance. Thank you so much. I'm excited again, as every year this time of year I sort of go, oh, it's almost the Media Access Awards time. So this is going to be a very special year. And
yes.
thank you both.
Thank you, David. Thank you.
Well, for what you have done by keeping it alive and Easter seals coming aboard, it's exciting and wonderful, and it brings us all together.
I hate to tell you this, yes. David, this is not a good word to use in this business.
What?
But you are an inspiration. You were an inspiration to me from when I first did one of those Meet the Biz classes at the Writers Guild. You remember that occasion?
I love that.
Just walked away and said, well, this Zimmerman guy, Jesus, he's going to be a hard act to follow. I told you that I would always do everything for you except for selling my body. If it's good, because no one would want it. It would be you wouldn't get a dime for it. Anyway, but to thank you for everything you do, David, really, seriously.
Thank you.